Hello guys, I'm just having a Potter section where I'm just like filly bitting around my almost, y'all haven't seen it. This is like a brand new witchy space. I had a desk where I the desk here, you can't see it, but it's down here. Where I would do most of like my workings that had to have a table, but baby is up and grabbing everything. So I had to tier I had to put shelves so that baby wouldn't like touch all my stuff. Um so fake candles just to give me some ambiance. I think I'm gonna light this and put it up here. I've got my witch's cord. That's always on the altar somewhere. Up here is kind of like my dark goddess tier. Let me see if I can show you guys. I painted that years and years ago. Of the moons and the goddess. It's basically just face, cloaks, and moons. So basically, I painted her. I painted the goddess, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, because I know why she's been so active with me lately, but my thing with her is, if you've been following me for a while, you know that it's like visions and quests, and it's just all about the journey work with her, you know? Oh, fire safety, oh my God. This path and this journey that I go on with the goddess is so impactful, and she's just so there, so present. And I have been working with the concept of this archetypal concept of the goddess for years, like a long time. And I treat the archetypal and the abstract deity just as I would a regular deity, and I have for a long time. And she's always been for me, and I bask in the notion of her giving me quests to go on and visions and creative endeavors that she wants me to do. And recently I've been conducting this devil study where I've been like reading up on the devil and reading up on Pan and Cernunnos and Dionysus, and you know, the concept of good versus evil, and the very, well, I mean, this very dominant figure in society, but for some reason, and I don't know, I mean, you guys could say that it could be jealousy, it could be like, okay, look, you're giving this dude a lot more attention than you're giving me. It could be that, but I haven't had that kind of feeling. It's mostly, she knows that when I immerse myself in a project, I really immerse myself in a project. And I think what she's been wanting is for me to not divide my attention. I don't want to put it like that. Like she's like, okay, well, I'm going to need some of that too. You know, it's not really that like that. It's more so that like so much creative insights and creative energy is coming out of me when doing this devil study, that I'm not focusing it anywhere. And the rub has been is that I've been reading and I'm getting so many good insights, good journaling things and all that. And I've been pouring all of that into just the journal. I haven't been doing anything like art, like me, right? And the other night I was sitting here in Temple, okay, which is like this energetic space that I unlock for the goddess, right? And I got this incredible feeling, and like she asked me to do something flat out. Like it rarely happens like that, where I get like a bona fide, I need you to do this for me. Because mostly she likes me to be myself. She likes me to pour her some offerings that are me, right? And that's always worked for us in terms of this, like, you know, co-creation thing where she's like an observer and a participant. And she just basically was like, I need an offering. I need an offering. And I want it to be dirty, and I want it to be raw, and I want it to be you. And at first I was like, okay. But then when I told her, I basically, you know, like in these sessions this temple session that I was having, I was like, okay, let's do this, you know? And it was so profound because it was like the next day, not even the next day, because I know I dreamed some of this shit too, but like from then on, as soon as I said, all right, I'm game, you know, like this is what you want. And it was more so like she's asking this of me because she knows that this is what I need. You know, like that's how I feel. Like she knows that I have been needing to pour out. Like I've been kind of creatively stifled as of late. Not gonna lie. And so I think that this was her way of saying, like, this is what you need, but do it in honor of me. Do it for me. Not do it for me, but do it for you. Help me help you. Okay, kind of thing. And I immediately started getting visions of images and words that describe her, right? And I was like, okay, I'm really gonna go into a little bit of depth with what the goddess is to me and what she can be, her potential, and her juice, right? And the goddess has always been quite dark for me. That's just always where the realms that I like to explore with her, and she likes to explore through me. Okay. And so I took that into consideration, but there was so much color, even with the words and the images that I was able to like evoke, okay, and come up with. There was so much rich color, even for the ones that the words and the adjectives that I would use to describe the dark goddess in my practice. You know, you'd think it would be just like browns and dirt and blood and like those really rich earth tones, right? No. Now I did. So I got out some, what I would like to call my dirty art supplies. Okay. And I thought, okay, I got some dirt, like some dirt, like earth. I got a jar of dirt. Okay. And then I had some soft pastels and some oil pastels and some crayons and some charcoal. And I was like, these are like my dirty, because she wanted a dirty one. She wanted this to be dirty. She wanted me to be dirty in this artistic endeavor thing. And so those are what I consider my dirty art supplies. Now I could have gotten out my paints, but I think that it was fun because I could get those specific art supplies out and not just be full on messy. Like paint's messy. And especially with like kids running around everywhere, tubs of paint falling out. No. Okay. Not yet. So I got those out and just started right. And then I let all you guys know in a community post. I was like, look, something's going on. Something's happening. Something's pouring out of me here. And I already had 63 words and images in my head that I needed to kind of like put on the paper. I'm going to light some of this, I don't have any of my incense out, so I'm going to light some Palo Santo. So I had these. So anyway, I covered my entire kitchen table, which is my space, my artistic space, because I don't have one. It's always been my kitchen table. I don't have another lighter. Okay, yeah, I do. So I just covered the whole thing in newspaper, right? And I laid out all the pastels, my box of crayons, my jar of dirt, and I went to town, okay? Let me tell you. like blowing on the flame. Ooh, yes, sir. Blowing on the flame really helps it to smoke, okay? And so I'm gonna be smelling that beautiful Palo Santo. I love the damn smell of this shit. And I just like laid out paper and then just started scratching the stuff, the art in, like just the images into the paper, okay? And I have a few. Actually, I have quite a few over here. Okay, they're like, they have paper towels in between them because soft pastels is like chalky and it gets everywhere if you let it. But Mama wanted this to be dirty, so okay. But look at this. This is the backs of the Oracle deck, okay? And that's what I wanted to talk to you about, is that I had decided that it was like 63 images and keywords, and I was scratching it, and then I realized I was like, I could do an Oracle deck out of this. That would be something raw, something very potent, and something that can be, that's a useful item once it's done, right? It can be sold to you guys, like whoever is, really, to be honest, it's whoever like needs it and is calling to them to have it. That's who it's for, okay? But it's a way for me to give back to her, and then I can, like, even if I printed it off for myself, which I don't like to deprive the people that like my art and that like that kind of thing, the kind of thing that I do. Now, there have been plenty of artistic offerings that I don't show you guys, that I have in journals, have in books, have in portfolios that y'all would never see. Okay, some of them I've destroyed on purpose as an act to, you know, like, this is not for me, this is not for anyone, this is for the goddess. But sometimes, you know, there are times where this is so useful, and it's like, I want to share the fact that I was able to basically invoke and channel these words and images, and the color, okay? So I'm excited because I've been working like I don't even know. I've been working really hard, but look, how dirty does this look? How beautiful and dirty does this look? It's like got this dirt and this like really green with this red, dark blood red line here. Oh, it's so good. It's kind of shadowy here, but I'm going to show you a couple more because, like I said, I've got a few over here. Like, when I finish them, I stack them over here basically on the altar to sit with Mama for a little while, okay? So, let me see if I can show y'all one. I'm going to make some space. Yeah, this one. Like that. This one is called Pain, and it looks kind of like a dowsing rod. It's so good. Okay, so good. This one is called If You Know, You Know. Okay, but this one is called Slick. I'm not saying it twice like we're in the spelling bee. Slick, that one's one of my favorites. This one's called Innocent. I mean, look at the colors of these, you know? I've got Heal and Protect. Oh my God, look at War, okay? Because, you know, the dog got us from me. She a warrior, okay? But look at War. This was completely I don't even know what my freaking hands were doing. I had dirt all over my, like, the chalk all over my hands. You know, usually if I work with soft pastels, I wear, like, you know, gloves. But I didn't, because she wanted this to be raw and dirty. But look at how War turned out. It's like this blood-soaked battlefield with like these trees in the wind, and they could be flags. I don't know. They could be both. They could be either. I don't care. And then almost like a red sky, because that's, my fingers did that. Like, look how beautiful this is. Oh, it's like one of my favorites. So, there's another one, but the colors of these, you guys, are insane. And some of them are more abstract. This one's is made to look like clovers in March. This is called Peace. Very dirty. I was able to just like really, when I was making the marks, they were very intentional marks. Some of them turned out more abstract. Some of them had actual things in them, like war. It turned out to be looking like a battlefield. This one's called Ancient. And then when I was done with it, I was like, okay, this is done. I realized that this looks like a head of hair, you know? So it's like, but they're so good because I don't always see something until it's done. And then I might look at it like on the table over there, and like in my peripheral, it'll look like something different. That's so sacred. This one's called Journey. Journey. I've got little tiny abstract feet prints in them. So yeah. So anyway, I've got a few more over here, and I'm working my butt off trying to get. This one's called Immortal. I mean, they're so good. Like the colors. And so you can't tell in this, but there's like this teal, cadet blue, grays, pinks, purples. And then some of them you can like really tell that I've like put my sweaty palms across it to streak the pastels, the chalk out. Oh, look at this one. This one was the one that had dirt on the edges, and then soft pastels. I don't know why I can't say that. Soft pastels into the purple, and then the yellow. This one's called Truth. So I'm just so proud of what I was able to do. So which one? This one looks dark. That's that one. Okay, I gotta show you this. This is the last one I'll show y'all. Okay. This one's called Sacrifice. Again, didn't know what I was doing, but you can tell. I mean, I guess you could see what you want to see. You're gonna see what you want to see. But I see an altar stained with blood on the top. Some powerful shit, y'all. Some powerful shit has come out of this project, and I'm just so I was so emotional doing it, getting my hands dirty, really focusing in. And then I decided the font, because at first I was just going to leave them blank, but I was like, nobody would know what the hell is going on if I let them blank. And they do have keywords. So, like I just shared. So I thought that what I would do is literally scratch the titles onto the cards. Psh, okay. But she works so mysteriously through me that it's mostly these flashes and these visions. And I've always been a vision person. Like I have always like been really good with getting visions. And even really before I had a goddess practice, but I have noticed that when placing myself in service, okay, in the service, like I said, when I was in temple, which basically means I'll sit down, it's like I erect this energetic temple that I came up with myself. And I've done that for a few, because like I said, with the abstraction that I do with deity, I work with quite a few of them. I don't work with just like one in the abstract. I work with the concept of goddess, and I tend to work with it's kind of like the many faces of her. So I work with Chaos, I work with Nyx, Tiamat, Hecate, Medea, the Morai, or the Fates, whichever you want to call it. I call them the Morai. Ereshkigal, Persephone, just to name a few, okay? And I mean, I work with all of them, and in this large, huge way, all-encompassing way. And aside from the oracle, I was sitting in bed working in my laptop the other night. Baby was asleep, the hubby was in here watching TV, and I was just in the bed chilling, and I was just doing something random stuff like logistic working in my laptop. And I went immediately to a Word document, a blank one, and I just started, usually I do this in a journal, which was weird. I usually do this in the journal, but because I had my laptop open, I immediately started like gushing these words, okay? And I started to realize what I was doing was coming up with, I was organizing the epithets that I have come up with for all these faces of the goddess that I work with. And I had already done this in journals. I've come up with their temples. I've given them names. It's like this continuous practice that I have with her. And I realized that I'm gonna, like, it was almost like a weird conversation I had with her sitting in the bed that night. I need to write this in a book. I need to write all these down in a book. And so I immediately started organizing the said book. And I just kept writing. And it was just like one of those sessions in the bed where I couldn't go to sleep until I got most of my thoughts out. And it was so profound though, because when I laid the project to bed for the night, I slept so good. I slept so good. But like, so I started out, I had organized it like starting with chaos, because she's my primordial goddess, right? Like when I really need a primordial goddess, I go to her. Her and Nyx, but Nyx is basically her daughter. And as a daughter of the night, as me, okay? And so, but I tend to work with chaos in the primordial, right? In this like mother of it all. And I started with her, and then I just went on, and I wrote 13 to, I think it was like 15 for her, of the epithets, the names that I give her. And I didn't even need to go back and look at my journals. They were like all there. It was like going through a filing cabinet in my brain. And I was just like, our mother, the begetter, like just, you know, like I wrote them all down, page by one for each page, and organized it to where it would be a book one day, right? I was just like, at first I was just playing around, but then I was like, after 15 for her, 14 for Tiamat, 15, another 15 for Nyx, I realized that I had a lot of epithets and names that I give to these faces of the goddess. So I came up with a average about 15 epithets for each of the ones I've placed in the book. And it is 300 motherfucking pages, you guys. It is a 300-page book. I've got, now, channeling her is weird for me, because when I would give the masses a book about channeling the dark goddess, you expect to have all the dark goddesses, most of the dark goddesses, like most of the popular ones. Like the ones I didn't include, I would feel bad for the practitioners that do work with them. But I learned, because I actually called out a little bit of me, called out to Kali, and I was like, you want to be in this book? And she was like, you don't even fucking know me. Like, and I was like, you're right. Okay. You're right. So I only put the ones that I work with. I didn't put Kali because I don't work with her. I don't work with Santa Muerte. I don't work with the Morgan, even though the Morgan has called out, me and her have had some conversations in the past, but I don't know her like that. And she'd probably say the same thing Kali did, like, girl, you don't know me. So I left her out as well. Sekhmet, Oya, any of the other dark goddesses that I don't actually work with, they didn't make the cut. And not because I don't love them, and that not that anyone else might not love, loves them, but I wanted to do the ones that I work with, because they all represent this multifaceted version of this abstract, humongous giantess of a being that I work with. And like I said, so I started with chaos, and then I did Nyx, Tiamat, Hecate, Ereshkigal, Persephone, the Kaliak, Baba Yaga, oh my god, the ones for, I'm gonna cry. Don't cry, please don't cry. The epithets that that I had always had in my heart for Baba Yaga were so perfect for her, and I don't want to cry. They're all so good. And then I did the Morai and Medusa and Medea. Now I gave them their own chapters because they're deified basically in my practice. But it doesn't matter. And then I did another whole 15 in the back of the book for archetypal ones that weren't really a deity focused, like epithets like the warrioress. Most of the ones in the back that are like in the archetypal chapter, they don't have a specific goddess for the, like, those are epithets that I've had when I'm just calling on the face of her, and I'm just calling to those archetypes, those specific archetypes. Like I said, like the ecstatic shapeshifter. So they got like a chapter all on their own. And because I already know what these they're energetic temples, but I'll explain it. When I sit down and I want to commune in a way with a goddess, I like to erect a temple. Now, this could be if you want to say it, it could be an astral temple, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be a visualization in the moment, and you change it up every time, okay? But for me, I had made up strict visions for these temples, and they are very temple-like, right? Like cathedral-esque. And I light a specific incense, light some candles, get in, like, and when I close my eyes, I am walking into this temple, and there's this like quiet reverence, almost kind of like walking into a church, and you feel her presence. And when I start to feel her presence, I know that I've made it, and I'm in temple. Okay, so anyway, it's like this very liminal spiritual versus energetic temple that I built. And so I realized again that I had one for every goddess. Okay, so for Chaos and for Nyx and for Hecate, Hecate's is really profound because I've visited her so many times. Hecate's temple is called Temple of the Torch Light Reverie, and it is so lit from within, you know, and it's like full of her, I don't know, it's just like this guiding thing. It's like a beacon. Like her temple is like a beacon. It's almost like being inside of a candle-filled lighthouse. And it's just so warm and, anyway, inviting. Baba Yaga's is Temple of the Humming Pine. And I don't know, it's just so special to have these relationships with the goddess that I decided to put, like, after the 13 to 15 epithets for the goddess, I put the temple in there. And because I already kind of know visually what I'm looking at, I decided to draw those. And then I'm actually going to probably illustrate a few of the epithets that I know very, very closely. I'm going to illustrate those for you guys as well. So it's going to be an illustrated book with channeled, invocated epithets of the goddess, and with their temples and with their archetypes, some pages for notes. I mean, 300 pages is a big old book for the goddess. I mean, for there to be so much about the goddess. The thing about the goddess books that are out there, some of them I really, really love, okay? And some of them are so personalized to the author that it's kind of hard to figure out how you can have a practice. And I had to wake up to that. I had to kind of be like, you know what? I really want to awaken myself and have a personal relationship with her. And what I had to do was I had to come up with these epithets for every one of them. By going through their story, by going through their mythos, I had to erect temples for them in my mind and in my mind's eye. And I had to come up with names. I can call them forth and call to them. I can pray to them. I can chant to them. And with every epithet, I want to give either a poem, a chant, a prayer, an invocation, something. Some of them can be like, they're short and you can just kind of keep chanting them over and over. Maybe this is something that you adapt to prayer beads. Maybe this is just, I want this to be completely inspirational. No information about the goddesses whatsoever. You ain't gonna get nothing about myths or legends or anything about them, okay? Because I believe that the whole point and like the journey of getting to know the goddess is about like reading up on them, reading the stories, and it's so personal that if you don't know them and you are inspired by these epithets and the temples and whatever, you can go and look them up, you know, as like this sacred act of, hey, I know you want to get to know me because you seem like you care. So this is going to be 100% inspiration and personal gnosis from moi. But I want this to be the goddess book that is inspiring, not that's informational and, hey, this is how I do it, this is how I work. Basically, this is just going to be like, hey, I hope that the Temple of the Humming Pines sees you safely to the darkest part of the forest. And you can just take that and run with it. Take that and run with it in your journal. Take that and run with it in a video diary, you know, like where you're recording your self-talk. Like, do some art around it. You know, take some walks by the water, by the river, by the creek, by the, in the forest, you know, up the mountain to find the Kaliak. The Kaliak's got some really good ones that I've had for years with her. Hecate too. Hecate had some really pretty ones. And then of course Medea as like a really, really big, prominent, you know, figure in my practice. The Morai. Now see, the funny thing is that the Morai, I consider them like the weird sisters. So their epithets are like the indomitable ladies of fate. It's like plural, right? They're the plural versions of the epithets because there's 3 of them. So I didn't divide them up because when I utilize and work with the fates as a deity, I do them in like this trinity. So their epithets for me have always been like this plural. So anyway, I've been rambling, but I've got an oracle and a book. The book I half wrote in a night, more than half. 80% of it was done in a night. Now what I've done was I sent it off to Lulu, which is like this print-on-demand company that I use to get pre-orders of my books to see how it looks in like a format or formed. So I've ordered one that just has the epithets, and I'm going to use the physical book as an offering to the goddess and to physically write, because that's how I do best. I'll physically write the poems and the chants and all that I've managed to look up inside those actual pages of like the proof, the pre-proof copy. So I'm going to share that experience with you guys in its own video with the book. I'll quit rambling and I will see you guys soon. Okay, y'all let me know how excited you are for these 2 endeavors because I am busting at the seams. Okay, I hope everyone's having a magical night wherever you are. Much love.